So I've made a small handful of videos on Roblox YouTubers and influencers before, and there's one in particular that I've talked about in the past that while the video itself kinda sucks, I feel it's time to make a remaster given that a lot more news came out about them recently that really pisses me off. Remember to like the video, subscribe for more content. Now let's see what exactly is going on here. Now for those that don't know, Kelogish was an old German Roblox and Friday Night Funkin' YouTuber who had a pretty decent following back in 2021, getting just over 500,000 subscribers despite being on YouTube for only a few years by that point. However, things would get bad as in August 2021, he would get exposed for being with somebody when he was 18 and she was 14 from old DMs of the friend dated back on October 2018, 3 years ago by that point. As time progressed, he would then start to hit on the friend in question sometime in April 2020, saying how he's doing basic texting to her and that's it. Eventually going on to solicit NSFW images from this girl in question as he was talking about wanting to hang out with her more and getting closer together and such. He would continue to hit on her and say how if he was dating a 14-year-old when he was either 18 or 19, he wouldn't get down on them unless she was at least 16, and would continue to flirt with his friend in a very direct manner as he was clearly feeling some type of way at the time. This would continue on as he fantasizes about doing stuff in the changing room with her at the store one day, before eventually just hitting up on her as much as he could as things started to wrap up between the two of them. Now, even though we don't know the age of the second friend Kelogish was talking to, rumors say he was 20 and she was 15, but we already saw him admit to dating a 14-year-old while he was 18, and on top of that would say how he would date a 14-year-old at 19 if he wanted to, showing that he's a pretty gross person altogether. This news will start to make its way around the Roblox community as multiple threads are starting to be made about the guy, showing that things are not looking good for Kelogish in his future internet career. DMs will leak out of him admitting that he isn't innocent at all, admitting that the leaked messages are real and that none of it was Photoshop as he tries to set up a call to the person in question, straight up admitting that it was a huge fuck up that he did 2 years ago and that he doesn't want to be excused for it. Eventually, somebody would manage to get Kelogish into an interview on August 24th that month, with people wanting to get some much needed answers as to what's going on here by the man himself. Oh, but it gets better though, as it turns out the person who was conducting the interview was none other than Scrimzox, aka Natharix, aka Natty Forces, aka Natigska, aka Natashrio, a former Roblox YouTuber who had done literally the same exact thing as Kelogish involving their own 14-year-old when they were 18, something that I've gone over in my own video on the channel before. When listening to the interview, one can't help but feel a gigantic sense of irony that of all the people who are trying to hold Kelogish accountable, it was literally someone who was just as bad if not worse than him, it just wasn't exposed to the public at the time.
The 15-year-old when you were 20, right?
Nadine?
Yeah.
I was 19 or 20. Yeah, one of them.
Yeah.
Like old 19, early 20.
I just want to show you something real quick.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So by definition, that 15-year-old and 20, that was by definition, it was 5 years apart.
Person must be at least 16 years old, at least 5 years older than the previous one. But I wasn't attracted, like I wasn't like looking for a...
After all this went down, Kelogish would lose his star status on Roblox after they learned of his disgusting nature, but he would continue to upload on YouTube as if nothing was going on at all. What's interesting is that he would do this for a good couple of weeks and get very good views in the process, with people wondering if anything will happen to him or if he would just continue to make videos and make money on the website. Well, in a shocking twist of events, YouTube would actually ban his channel on September 20th, 2021, just a little under a month after the news broke out, showing that even they knew him trying to skirt away wasn't going to happen on their watch. Many people will celebrate he was officially gone off the platform, including myself, as justice was finally served by none other than the website itself, that which included former Roblox YouTuber Kaneko Kitten, who just like Natty Forsyth over here was also talking some type of way to underage people before in the past I've covered on the channel as well, showing that we're 2 for 2 on creeps to go after other creeps that are just as bad if not worse than the person they're covering, which if I had a nickel for every time this happened in the Roblox community, I'd have 2 nickels, which isn't a lot, but it's just weird that it's happened twice. Kelogish should end up privating his TikTok account as his career was all but officially over by this point, and the last time he was ever seen active outside of his YouTube channel will be on August 20th on Twitter just mere hours before the news about him dropped. After all this went down, there'd be no news about his whereabouts online at all, with most people just moving on after getting the justice they deserve and seeing that this is one of the very few times where things got resolved in a quick and correct manner. I would move on to other projects as I was still figuring out just the type of content I like to make, and Roblox YouTubers would move on as well into brighter pastures in their circles. However, it turns out that Kelogish wasn't moving on from the internet, as once someone gets a taste of the thousands upon thousands of dollars someone can make by being a children's content creator, he wasn't going to let that dream escape him anytime soon. Meet KakaV420, a YouTuber on a site that is mostly known for their meme type of videos on the channel. While they initially started with memes relating to the movie series Despicable Me, they would move on to Roblox content as that's some very easy money to be made. While I personally hate the content he makes as it's basically overstimulating brain rot that I would never let my own kid watch, like, ever, he clearly knows what he's doing, and at the end of the day, a job is a job and he does it well. Koofy 420 decided to switch it up a bit, however, as on September 8th, 2024, he would upload a video called The End of Koofy, with people wondering just what exactly was going on here. Now, Koofy was a Roblox YouTuber with 2 million subscribers on the site, and fans were confused as they had worked together on multiple videos before in the past. So it seemed that they were in for something interesting, as Koofy 420 was not the type to talk bad about a person at all on his channel. However, when going into this video, they were in for a surprise that even they never would have guessed about, not in a million years. The video is edited in the same fashion as a typical video from Koofy 420, though instead of it just being complete and utter brain rot, he would actually start to tell his story and how he can never figure out where Koofy exactly came from, as it was obvious he had skills obtained previously making content, eventually learning that he was around 23 years old and from Germany, the same country that Kelogish is from. Eventually, after getting in a call with a friend and Koofy just happened to come up as a random subject, things started to build up, and, well, I think I'll let Koofy 420 explain it himself now.
Okay, I'll tell you, but you better keep it a secret. Koofy is criminal.
Truth is, before the creation of the Koofy channel, he was Kelogish, a prominent figure in the Roblox community, known for his content on games like Bubblegum Simulator and Funky Friday.
That's right, Koofy has been Kelogish for the past 3 years since he's been on YouTube, using his identity as a TTS channel to stay anonymous as much as possible, but clearly behind the scenes people are able to figure things out as the news slowly spread throughout Roblox YouTuber circles. However, Koofy 420 was still on the fence about everything, but he would soon be able to confirm it was indeed Kelogish, as Koofy had given him access to his channel stats before, and when checking the blocked words you can see that he blocked out any names referring to Kelogish and the other unsavory things people were calling him online. It was now confirmed that Koofy was Kelogish and he was back and stronger than ever, and so Koofy 420 would eventually confront him and cut him off for good. However, he would explain he held this secret for months after seeing how Koofy posted a video after he cut him off, which shows that his mental state was not in a good spot. But the guilt of him not letting other people know was too much, and so he did what he had to do for the betterment of the Roblox community by making this video on him.
Honey, I prepared dinner for you.
I don't feel hungry, mother.
It's been 5 months, son. You need to learn to move on with your life.
Letting go feels impossible, almost like giving up on something important. I cling to the past because letting go makes me feel guilty, as if I'm betraying memories that once defined me.
As the months went by, the guilt of not revealing anything about Koofy far outweighed any fear I had for doing so, and that's when I started working on this video.
Connection terminated. You are not here to receive a gift. You don't even realize that you are trapped. Your lust for roasting TikToks has driven you in endless circles, chasing the prettiest TikToks in some unseen chamber, always seeming so near, yet somehow out of reach. But you will never find them. None of you will. This is where your story ends.
This news was everywhere the moment it dropped, and Koofy will lose over 50,000 subscribers in just a few days, with people wondering how he was able to gain such a following so quickly without anybody else knowing. It turns out that a few people actually did know that Kelogish was Koofy, as YouTuber It's Maddie had made videos featuring Koofy in them and has even promoted his channel on the end screen, as you can see.
Today we are with Matty the Fatty and Dab for Kilo.
It's Maddie has since deleted the videos featuring Koofy off his channel after people learned about this, but maybe, just maybe he didn't know at the time it was Kelogish, as after all, Koofy was a TTS channel and no one knew what he sounded like. You know, despite there being archive proof of It's Maddie being friends with Kelogish even before he got exposed, as you can see on the right side there on Kelogish's channel being promoted on It's Maddie's channel, maybe he just happened to not know. Well, that wouldn't be the case, as an anonymous person would contact Maddie the very next day on September 9th and ask him about the situation, in which he would admit to employing Kelogish due to fears of him game ending, before they eventually cut off contact between one another in January 2022. Maddie would then go on to say that Kelogish was the one putting his own videos on the end screen on Maddie's channel and that it upset him. But think about it, if this actually upset him, why didn't he just change the video to another one after seeing Kelogish was doing that? Obviously, the answer is because it didn't bother him because he was promoting his friend's new channel despite knowing about the disgusting and heinous things he's done, showing him trying to snake his way out of this conversation in whatever way he could. This is not a good look no matter what, because it's one thing if he didn't know it was Kelogish and it was just a really unfortunate coincidence that Koofy just so happened to be him, but no, we know that It's Maddie knew Koofy was Kelogish, knew what Kelogish had done, and still worked with him up until they eventually cut off contact between one another in January 2022. At that, the reason was because apparently having something to do with girlfriend issues, meaning that Maddie didn't even cut him off because he finally understood that helping Kelogish and starting a new channel was wrong. No, it was just some petty shit between one another. His career is likely going to be hard to fix as even Creekcraft, one of the biggest Roblox YouTubers, would even name drop him when talking about people who knew it was Kelogish, showing that things are not looking good for his future online.
There's some YouTubers. It's Maddie is one of them. Yes, I will say that. Yes, It's Maddie is one of them. I'm not going to say anybody else though, but there are some Roblox YouTubers out there that knew about it and knowingly helped him, which is kind of crazy.
After It's Maddie was exposed for knowing that it was Kelogish, people are now starting to leak out anything that's been kept under the rug since his initial exposure over 3 years ago, including how Roblox YouTuber Rainway was going around circles the moment the news dropped saying how the girl wasn't a victim, despite, a grown adult was soliciting minors for pictures, but I digress. It turns out that Rainway and Kelogish were friends as he was seen in the DMs as someone being a bit distraught over the situation given just how bad everything was. And even though he doubts that they ever exchanged images and says they only dated for a week, he confirms that Kelogish did indeed know she was a minor, meaning that this situation is cooked either way. Now, one of the former people who ran the Roblox RTC Twitter page back in 2021 named Tanuki would have DMs leaked to them telling someone that apparently Rainway actually tried to stop them from posting information about Kelogish on their Twitter page back when it dropped. But I want to point out that there's no proof to this as far as I can see, and it just seems to be rumors, so take it with a grain of salt. Rainway would even hit up Tanuki after they made the tweets on the RTC page and say that they should hit up Kelogish for his side of the story, which while it's something that certainly makes sense, given it's a pretty clear-cut case that Kelogish is the bad guy 100% and that he's gone on record to try and say the girl wasn't a victim, it was clear he was just trying to help his friend out. When the new news about the Koofy channel dropped, he would even hit up someone soon after his name was mentioned publicly when people are trying to piece together any old news, showing that he's well aware of what's going on right now even if he isn't active on YouTube and Twitter these days. While it's pretty obvious that back in the day Rainway was under the impression that the girl wasn't a victim, we don't really know if he changed his mind after thinking things over or if he still believes that, so I'm not going to treat this like the It's Maddie situation. Maddie knew and helped Kelogish grow Koofy, whereas Rainway said things but showed that he was under duress given it was 3 years ago and he was close friends with Kelogish. I do think he should say something however because a lot of people on the Roblox side of the internet are going after him for what all we know is something he might have changed his mind on, but until then he'll just have to wait and watch as the crowd grows against him more and more with every passing day. Now, some people may still be wondering about It's Maddie, as while we know that he knew Koofy was Kelogish and helped him grow his channel, we don't know how that news came out to be in the first place. Well, that's when Inheat comes into the mix, a Roblox YouTuber and game developer known for his toilet tower defense game and videos that he would post on his channel. He was also exposed for being a predator talking to a 15-year-old some type of way when he was 20 as well, that which makes this story just so much more interesting in the process. It turns out that back in July 2024, just a few months before Kelogish was exposed as Koofy, and he was talking with someone about him as the subject came up, in which he just straight up told the guy that Koofy is Kelogish and sent a link to his channel to make it very clear to him as well. And he would go on to confirm that he's known about this news since December 2021, with that being just a month into making the Koofy channel as it was made in November a month prior. Also saying that he's in contact with Kelogish and that he was in contact for a while, meaning that even though we don't know exactly when they started speaking, he already knew it was Kelogish since the very beginning and still went out of his way to speak to him. Honestly, it makes sense given he's a predator as well, but I digress. The person he was speaking to will leak their DMs to the public, and in revenge, he would name off a handful of other YouTubers and Roblox community members that he says knew just like him, and though some that are named have no evidence to back it up and are innocent as far as it seems, he would name drop It's Maddie into the mix, and in turn push came to shove and people found out that this was all true in the process. He would even end up confirming that the way Kelogish got back on YouTube after getting banned under the Koofy channel was by putting the channel under his girlfriend's identity, so that at least answers why YouTube didn't catch him themselves when the channel was first made. Now I know that this news is already over a month old by this point and I'm late to the bandwagon, but I waited to cover this story in specific for one reason. To see if Kelogish should come back on another channel even sooner as it's already been a proven method that using TTS for Roblox content can be a successful venture for him. I asked around, scoured random tweets, googled anything and everything I could, and so far I unfortunately got nothing. Trust me, I was searching around, and I was expecting him to show up sooner than later and some random channel with hyper good editing and video structure will pop up, but no, nothing that I've looked into gives any hints that it might be Kelogish on a third channel making Roblox content again. I know there have been people accusing new TTS channels of being him recently, but given there's no actual way to prove this is Kelogish and not some random other content creator, I'm not going to show them on screen as I don't want to unintentionally bring negative attention their way. I've been seeing a lot of comments from Roblox kids saying how they should forgive Kelogish for what he's done and that he should be okay to make content so long as he doesn't talk to kids anymore. And I want to say something about this as we wrap things up here. Whether you choose to forgive Kelogish or not is up to you as a person, but Kelogish should never, ever make content for kids on YouTube ever again. He's already proven himself to be a danger to underage people, and I know a lot of these kids pushing this forgiveness narrative are saying this because they don't understand just how bad the stuff he did was. I don't blame the kids for thinking this way either. Their parents taught them forgiveness, and honestly that's a good thing for most cases. It just happens that this is one of those cases where it's not a good thing, and at that a case where no matter what, he should not be around children or making children's content in his life ever again. I'm expecting Kelogish to come back to YouTube eventually, as it's not hard to run a Roblox channel without using your voice. But I'm gonna be on the lookout a lot harder now that I've seen him successfully pull this off. Shout out to my channel members for helping support my content, and shout out to my bestie tier members Wrath Roland, Nami, Cody, Lore Hertzman, Ash the Fox, Hyper aka V, and Mystical GB. Go check out my Patreon and YouTube memberships if you want to support me yourself in the description below, and I hope you join as soon as you can. Until then, we just gotta wait and see if any news on the third channel drops soon, or if this will finally be the last we ever see of Kelogish on YouTube and possibly the internet ever again.